This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball from Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. The series wraps up tonight as the Royals play host to the St. Louis Cardinals. Game 3, what an effort by Matt Carpenter. Carpenter, the Cardinals' second baseman last year, third baseman this year, Mr. Versatility. Well, he's also a leadoff man, a table setter. On base 6 times last night, and he guided the Cardinals to a dramatic win. A strong 8+ innings from Adam Wainwright. Then Pat Neshek picked up his first save in the big leagues, and the Cardinals would take Game 3 in dramatic fashion in extra innings. That's Rick Horton. My name is Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. What a win it was in game number 3. We'll see if that carries over to game 4.
Well, you know it's going to be a tough road trip for the Cardinals, but they started it off in style. A lot of emotions in the game here last night, both positive and negative, but it ended on a good note. We'll see if it does carry over to tonight.
Well, it's a couple of young starters getting the call tonight. The burgers are on the grill. It's barbecue in Kansas City. What else? Baseball coming up. Difference makers, Michael Wacha, Yordano Ventura, 2 of the youngest starters in the major leagues, and 2 guys that are very, very talented. It was back on May 30th at Busch Stadium against Kansas City. Michael Wacha would make his major league debut and a sign of things to come.
It ended up a long night and an extra inning loss for the Cardinals, but Michael Wacha was terrific. He'll be making start number 22 of his young career. His postseason experience, I think, is what sets him apart.
It's the Royals, it's the Cardinals, it's interleague play. Birds looking for a split tonight from the K. Baseball just around the corner. Stadium in Kansas City. Folks wearing red and royal blue. Last night, the stolen base, a key part in the Cardinals' win. Won by Ellis early on, later by Borges. Both driven in by Matt Carpenter. On base 6 times last night in a 5-hit effort. This evening, the Cardinals try to earn a split. Youngster Michael Wacha toes the rubber.
You happy?
Yeah, it sounds great. Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser, designated driver, and enjoy the great times. It's Chevy Truck Month. Visit your Mid-America Chevy dealers to take advantage of Truck Month offers on the all-new Chevy Silverado. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Yordano Ventura, the starter and a hard thrower for the Kansas City Royals.
Ventura has a electric fastball, Dan, and when you watch him pitch, think a little bit of Pedro Martinez. That's his idol. That's who he tries to emulate a little bit, but he has a free and easy high 90s.
Matt Carpenter, a .307 average, 1 home run. He is driven in 20 quickly. Strike 2. First 2 pitches, 1 at 96, number 2 at 97. In his debut, he was clocked at 102, the fastest recorded pitch by any starter a year ago. In the air, left center, and a diving catch by Alex Gordon as he robs Matt Carpenter. Oh, what a play.
We've seen some very good defense out of these Kansas City Royals, and here's another example of it. Gordon lays out, hangs on. Not sure about the finish. Carpenter has been finding the gaps left and right, and that one was plugged.
Here's Colton Wong. Came into the ball game late last night. Remember, in game 2, he had the grand slam, then a diving stop at second base as he shows bunt, looks at a strike, jammed his shoulder. And with the lefty Vargas on the mound last night, Cardinals held him out of game 3 until late. He's hitting .264. Steady diet of fastballs from Ventura, who actually missed a start, dealt with a sore elbow And the Royals, to say the least, relieved that it was not Tommy John. There's the curveball. There was some talk that they thought that may be the case. Missed a start, threw on the side. Couple of bullpen sessions. The pain subsided, and here he is tonight.
We've been talking in this series about how important Ventura is to this team. They're expecting to win this year, and they need him to be healthy.
So 2 outs, and it brings in Holiday, Craig on deck, and then Yadier Molina, Oscar Taveras, Johnny Peralta, John Jay, and Peter Borges. Last 6 games, 5 for 14, and a key hit last night off the bench. There's the fastball at 96. We got 2 young studs on the mound tonight.
Both with great changeups. The curveball for Ventura, a little bit more like Wainwright's curveball. But he throws it hard like everything else. That one at 99.
You know, Pedro Martinez, when you watched him pitch, long stride, really was able to sling the ball up there, finished on the first base side. It took everything that he had to throw as hard as he did. You watch Ventura, and they say it is free and easy. What have you thought of this delivery so far?
Well, I can see some of the elements of Martinez. There's just some ways he kind of has a simplified delivery. There's not really much over the head. He just kind of turns and throws the way Martinez did. But definitely freer and easier in that one at 100.
Out of the Dominican Republic, signed as a non-drafted free agent. There's the curveball, and it is a 12-6 breaking ball, as you mentioned.
About 20% of the time he's going to throw changeups. About 20% of the times he'll throw curveballs, and the rest are fastballs that will cut a little, and then he's got the high fastball that'll try to get you to chase.
2-2. Matt Holliday, just 3 home runs this year. He's driven in 29. These 2 teams have hit the fewest home runs in baseball. And it's a 2-out walk. Well, you just saw Alex Gordon in left field. He's a Gold Glover. Lorenzo Cain in center. Aoki, the former Brewer, is in right. This is brought to you by Dobbs, Moustakas, Escobar, Infante, and Hosmer, another Gold Glover. Perez won the Gold Glove last year behind the plate. Ventura on the mound. Alan Craig now with 32 driven in to lead the club. Looks at a fastball low and away.
A little more over the top than Martinez, too. He's really throwing downhill, and we're going to be confused a bit by the pitch selection here because his changeup, he actually throws 89 miles an hour. And a lot like Trevor Rosenthal. Yep. He throws a hard one, too.
Big gap in left center, and Craig taps it foul for strike 1. The final meeting between these 2 teams here in 2014. Here at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. Ventura was able to sail through the first 2 hitters and now has fallen behind on the cleanup man Alan Craig after a walk to Holiday. Very short lead at first by Holiday. 2-2. Ventura was the Paul Splittorff Pitcher of the Year. We lost our friend Paul Splittorff a couple of years ago, former pitcher with Kansas City, longtime broadcaster, and a guy that I actually did a number of basketball games with.
I heard him do some basketball games. Very good analyst.
Sensational job.
Always enjoyed seeing Paul here in Kansas City.
Miss him.
Outstanding pitcher, too. Underrated.
3-2 the count on Craig. Well, you get a ball in the gap here, and Matt Holliday is off to the races. There he goes, and the pitch is hit into right. That's a base hit. Holliday stays put at second base, and it brings in Yadier Molina. Craig just served a base hit into right field.
We've seen these hits from Alan Craig before. I like to call them his Plan B hits. You know, his Plan A hits, he drives the ball, but he has a knack for putting the ball in play. He knew that pitch might be called a strike. In fact, it was right on the outside corner. And, you know, players will call that an emergency hack or a Plan B swing. And I think Craig has one of the best ones around. He just has a way of finding holes. Yachty pretty good at that, too. You know, you have your Plan A is not hitting a little bloop over the second baseman's head. But if that's what the pitcher gives you and that's all you've got, you got to find some way to get on.
The Cardinals actually had a couple of steals in the game last night that proved to be huge. Mark Ellis in the second, then Peter Borges late. Cardinals steal a base. They are 12-6 this year. As Molina looks at a strike.
And once again, the outfield playing very shallow here at the K. And I think Kansas City just believes that we're going to give you the double over the heads of our outfielders, but we are going to take every chance we get to throw a runner out at the plate. And I think they're making that decision based on the fact that their outfielders are fast and good. Mike Matheny talking before the game about how hard it is to play outfield here. There's a lot of room, which is the reason he's got Borges in the game today.
And here's a 1-1 pitch to Yadier Molina. Pulled foul. Mentioned that earlier this week it was the 10-year anniversary of the major league debut for the Cardinals catcher. And we were going over video, looking at Molina first couple of years. Changed stances an awful lot, but he's also changed his hands. His hands are back now to the point that he's opened up his stance. He doesn't get jammed nearly as much. Perez is able to keep that close.
And he's really the picture of a relaxed hitter at the plate, too. There's Holliday and Craig, your runners. But Yachty not only has those kind of relaxed hands, but his whole body is relaxed at the plate. He's not stiff. And, you know, there's more than one way to hit. But Yachty has really gotten into a comfort zone offensively. And, you know, it's a lot of work. That's a lot of working off a tee. That's a lot of early batting practice. And, you know, he, I think, has just absolutely gained confidence in his ability with the bat.
A fly ball into right center. Lorenzo Cain. Cardinals strand two. Michael Wacha in search of his first road victory of the season when we come back. In terms of searching for an identity offensively, Aoki did not start game 3. He's in there as a leadoff man here in game 4. Then Omar Infante, Eric Hosmer, Billy Butler, the DH. Then Gordon, Perez, Kane, Moustakas, and Escobar. And Alex Gordon has had a big series against St. Louis, and tonight he will face the right-hander Michael Wacha. He is our Kia starter. It was May 30th last year that Wacha made his major league debut against these Kansas City Royals at Busch Stadium.
And the year before that, he was sitting through a major league draft that's going on right now and was the 19th pick overall, and has just been a spectacular find for the Cardinals. Made it to the big leagues very quickly, making start number 13 here today. Has the overpowering changeup, and he'll use it a ton. And the fastball, not quite the same velocity as Ventura, but his effectiveness is absolutely there.
Aoki looks at his strike. Always a threat to bunt, even with 2 strikes, as he tried to do in game 1. Just everything that you see as that hits Aoki. Now the medical staff out to check on the Royals leadoff man. So Molina throwing back to the pitcher hits Aoki. Boy, that is something you don't see every day. And Aoki has had some plays here in Kansas City that have been as odd as anything you've ever seen. Look at that.
That is so strange. I'm not sure I've ever seen that. And the throw, Aoki's not really in the way. He backs up. Now he does crowd the plate a little bit, but the throw from Yachty just kind of goes sideways. It's like he misthrows the ball, and Aoki just goes down. There it is. I think it surprised him as much as anything else.
That is hard to believe, but it happened. Aoki had a play in their most recent road trip where he swung, and it wasn't like the ball hit him on a swing in the back leg. It hit him square in the midsection, maybe a little lower. He was talking in a higher pitched voice.
I get your drift.
And there was longtime scouts that were at that game that are here tonight that said they had never seen that ever. And I mean guys that have seen years of baseball.
We showed in one of our video montages in the pregame show all of the strange occurrences that he's had in the last 3 weeks. You can just add a little more video to that. Glad he's okay, though.
And he puts it in play. Hit to short. Peralta quickly to first, and they get him by a step. Take a look at the Cardinals defense here tonight. Remember, Holiday serving as the DH. This is brought to you by Dobbs. So Jay in left, Borges in center, Taveras is in right. Carpenter, Peralta, Wong, and Craig along the infield. Yachty is behind the plate. As you mentioned earlier, Mike Matheny saying that this is a cavernous ballpark prior to the game to us, and that's why he wants Peter Borges out in center field.
I think he also likes the fact that Borges, when he gets on base, creates issues for the other team. And you talked about both these clubs looking for an identity. I think that's a very fair statement about the Royals and the Cardinals both. A year ago, the Cardinals developed an identity as a team with good young pitching, and they had timely hitting. And you would have kind of said that about most games and most series, but this year they're still searching for really what defines this 2014 club.
Ground out to short off the bat of Infante, and it brings in Eric Hosmer. A lot has been made of the lack of power in the middle of the lineup for the Cardinals. Well, same thing can be said about the Kansas City Royals. Right now you have their 3 and 4 hitter, Hosmer and Butler, with a combined 2 home runs. That's it. Eric Hosmer, a tough night against Adam Wainwright in game 3. Struck out 4 times, and then in the 9th with that strikeout, the 4th time, did advance in a ball that got away from Yachty.
I think it's part of the reason that they've changed hitting coaches, although my understanding is Pedro Grifol, who was their hitting coach prior, still is very well respected by a lot of the hitters here in Kansas City, but I think they just felt like they needed to get some more pop. So there's Dale Swaim on the right, former big league manager, who was in Chicago and Milwaukee both. He's trying to get his team to hit the ball into the outfield with some pop, but not so far here tonight. 3 groundouts. Nice start for Michael Wacha.
Adam Wainwright, how did Adam feel about the situation that unfolded in the 9th inning?
Well, Dan, as you know, Adam Wainwright takes a lot of pride in finishing what he starts. And in regard to last night's game, he said for him personally, quote, it kind of feels like a loss almost because he gave up a couple of runs in the last inning, end quote. Today he told me no regrets. He made the pitches he wanted to in the 9th to Hosmer and Butler, but it didn't work out. He says, bottom line, the Cards won the game, and he knew he was on a short leash anyway, Dan.
And that's it out of play off the bat of Oscar Taveras. Well, Matt Carpenter was part of your pregame show. You had a chance to visit with the Cardinal third baseman. What a night for him in Game 3.
Yeah, Mike Matheny was saying that Matt Carpenter was screaming in the dugout after the Royals tied the game in the 9th, yelling, this is our game. It's not going to end like this. More low-key about his 5-hit night. And reaching base 10 times over the last 2 games. He told me he's been doing the same things all season long, and balls are just falling for him now. He told me he took an 0 for 23 last year in late July, and it taught him how long the season really is and how you have time to turn things around. He says there's enough time left in this season for him to match the numbers he posted last year, Dan, maybe even better.
Well, Taveras lifts a fly ball out to left. Thank you, Jim. Alex Gordon is there and makes the play. Taveras is now 4 for 19 since he was called up. And it brings in the Cardinals' leading man in terms of home runs, Johnny Peralta, the shortstop.
Kind of interesting that Peralta, with those 9 home runs, hits 7th in the order for the Cardinals. The Cardinals more home run production in the middle of their lineup than the Kansas City Royals do, as you mentioned. The Royals with 26 home runs as a team. The Cardinals with just 32.
You look across the board around Major League Baseball, there really isn't one team that you say, well, they're just running away with it. I mean, San Francisco is the one team that comes to mind, 8-game lead. But there are a lot of teams, including the Cardinals, that are hovering right around that 500 mark.
Yeah, there's some good teams hovering around it as well. You think about the Los Angeles Dodgers, who come into play with a record of 31-30, and they're actually a half game behind the Cardinals overall. And you think, well, that's a team that expects to play in October, and there's a lot of teams like that. I think the Washington Nationals, just 1 game over 500, would be another example in the National League. And you've got New York, Baltimore in the AL East, right around 500. It's a year of parity in some ways.
Strikeout of Johnny Peralta. It's draft day in Major League Baseball. Dan Kantrovitz running the draft for the Cardinals. And here are the top 10 picks so far. And one of those picks coming out of the Missouri Valley Conference. Kyle Freeland, a left-handed pitcher that goes to Colorado. Tyler Kolek is the second pick, a right-handed pitcher. He's 245 pounds. Rick, born and raised in a small town in Texas on a ranch. He throws on average about 100 to 101, 18 years old.
Wow. And
his idol was Nolan Ryan. Had a chance to meet him. And I mean, this kid throws smoke. John Jay with a base hit into right center. Aoki over to get it after his collision with the baseball out of the hands of Molina.
Had a chance to play with Frank DiPino, who had played with Nolan Ryan, and DiPino was a Cardinal for a while. In fact, had a really good year. We'll look at that swing for John Jay. He could just flat out hit. Ball might have even been off the plate. But what Frank told me is that Nolan invited him to do his workout at his ranch, and it was a heavy leg workout. He got about halfway through it, felt nauseous, and had to stop. And the thought was that really nobody could do the workout that Nolan Ryan did, the lower half workout, which is really where he's always said he got his velocity from.
The drive and the way that he was able to push off with his legs.
Hard to throw hard if you don't have a foundation.
Here's Peter Borges. Borges is hitting .208, couple of home runs, one of those in this series in game 2. He's driven in 8 and stolen 4 bags.
Ventura, the pitcher, just 6 feet 180, but you can see some solid legs. Of course, he's got a pretty live arm too. A lot of it in terms of velocity comes from arm speed as well, and just gifted that way. He's kind of just born that way. Just have the flexibility and the arm speed and the ability to use fast twitch muscles to throw a baseball hard. And again, you're just born with it.
Here's a 2-1. And Borges hits it in the gap in right center field. Jay will round second on his way to third. Here comes Jay. Borges flying to third with a triple, and the Cardinals lead it 1-0. Third triple for Peter Borges this season.
And we've been talking about the shallow outfield that the Kansas City Royals are playing. And I think their understanding is we can throw runners out at the plate easier. But one thing it does is it makes you have to get to the ball quicker in the gaps. We've seen a couple of balls now, Carpenter's last night, and maybe this one from Borges, that because you're playing shallow, you just can't get the right angle to cut that ball off in the gap.
And now it is Matt Carpenter. As Jim reported, it was Matt Carpenter who came in after that 9th inning and was quite vocal with his teammates saying, we will not lose this game. It's one thing to say it, and then he backed it up. Carpenter was robbed his first time up by Alex Gordon, the Gold Glover in left, with a diving catch to start this game.
And as I heard accounts of that thing that Matt Carpenter did and the words that he used and the timing that he used, it, you know, just mindful of the fact that the right player has to say the right thing at the right time. Otherwise, it's phony and does more harm than good.
Rick, you look at the numbers for Carpenter. He leads the club in runs, hits, also leads the league in hits, total bases, doubles, walks, and on base percentage. And he's putting together another very good year. Last year, a historic season. Carpenter bounces it to second base, taken there by Infante, and the Cardinals strand a runner. But Peter Borges drives in his 9th this year with a 2-out RBI triple, standing up. Jay off to the races from first. It gets past Lorenzo Cain. Wave him on in. The Cardinals trying to earn a split tonight. They're on top midway through 2. 1-0. giving the Cardinals a 1-run lead. Toyota keys to the game.
Well, number one, the Cardinals are going to have to avoid a late inning battle. Royals very good the last 2 innings, and the Cardinals need a spark offensively early, and maybe they just got that from Peter Borges and John Jay with 2 out hits.
Billy Butler, the DH at the plate. Peter Borges was selected back in 2005. Always find it of interest when you go back and look at what round or how early or late a player is drafted, and this is draft day in baseball. He was the 313th overall pick.
By the way, players will talk about it around this time too, because they're very aware that the draft is going on, and they're not worried about guys taking their job from the draft yet. They're worried about the AAA guys taking their job, and obviously if they're thinking right, they're not worried about anything. They're just doing their job. But it brings up the conversation of the draft and your circumstances of maybe being drafted out of high school or in college, and so players will be talking about it around these days.
It's a foul ball. The Cardinals, and it's at Studio 42. Major League Baseball, their television network, has Studio 42. That's where the selections are being made. They have number 27, 34, 68, and 71. Taken there by Colton Wong. Well, you mentioned it. Michael Wacha, all of 22, just a couple of years ago, 19th overall pick in 2012, and these are the top 8 pitchers selected. So those in front of Wacha, and I've talked to Dan Kantrovitz about it, who runs the draft, and they followed Wacha extensively for about the final 2 months or so. And he said, to be quite honest with you, I can't believe he dropped to us. He said, we knew that he had a plus changeup, a good fastball. As Alex Gordon looks at his strike, he himself was a top pick out of Nebraska. But he said, you hope you do your homework on the makeup of a kid. We had heard nothing but good things. And he said, what we didn't realize, though, is that he would put himself in this position to be here this quickly, but also he's unflappable. And he's also figured out that to be successful, I need to adapt. And that means a curveball. That means a cutter, which he has developed as John Jay puts it away for the out. And there's 2 down.
Well, Marty Meyer is here at the ballpark today, and he ran the draft for the Cardinals for multiple years. He's actually with the Cincinnati Reds right now, does professional scouting for them. And he was saying that the Cardinal rule is when you're at the draft, especially the top rounds, never change your mind. Your homework has to be done prior. You have to know this is where I slot this guy ahead of this guy ahead of that guy, and you get the best player when you get to that point. And you don't kind of go, yeah, well, maybe. I mean, know who you want and don't change your mind at the last minute. And he tells the story of having a particular catcher in mind from the state of Virginia who got drafted right in front of them in their pick. I believe it was the Tigers, he said, picked him, and they were just disgusted with that. And they said, oh, well, I guess we'll have to take Joe McGrain. And Joe McGrain turned into an outstanding starter in the big leagues, and the catcher never made it. So sometimes you get lucky.
It's a crapshoot.
It is.
There is no doubt about it. Salvador Perez at the plate, the check swing, and he strikes out. The tag applied by Yadier Molina. 6 up and 6 down for Michael Wacha. For a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast that's brought to you by AT&T. So Ventura went undrafted, signed at an early age out of the Dominican, and developed. So it's not only about where you get a player and how talented they are, but once they're in your system, how do you develop that player? And clearly the Cardinals, for generations of players, have developed them properly.
Well, you hear Mike Matheny and John Mozeliak both use the terminology, you check the boxes. There literally are boxes that you check from A to AA to AAA. And I'm talking pitchers here, but hitters too. They have different boxes, different expectations that along the development, you know, the pitcher's got to be able to command his fastball in low A before he gets to high A. And it's all relative. But, I mean, there are specific developmental steps that are actually in the Cardinal way, which everybody thinks is a philosophy, but it's really just fundamental baseball. It includes those check boxes for development.
There's a good changeup. Colton Wong grounded out to second. Wong, a first-round pick out of the University of Hawaii. And starting to come into his own. Fly ball lifted into center field. Lorenzo Cain. So Dan Kantrovitz is quite the resume that he has put together. Dan, who again runs the draft, is 36, and he worked under Billy Beane for a while with the Oakland A's. Went to John Burroughs High School in St. Louis. As Holliday hits it out to deep left center field, that ball will get down. On his way to second base, and in there safely with a double. One-out double for Matt Holliday. On base for the second time to go along with a walk. But just to finish the thought, he played baseball, the Ivy League with Brown, and then he got a graduate degree from Harvard, and then was drafted by the Cardinals, played in their system, and was an intern at one point. He was a middle infielder, hurt his shoulder. He said, but he wanted to use that experience to play because it was his boyhood dream to play and certainly do it for the Cardinals. And then all of a sudden the Cardinals reached back out to him because of the impression he had made.
And what a perfect time for him to be a Harvard graduate and a baseball interested guy with some experience the way baseball is going with sabermetrics and really using every tool available to help understand how to draft more efficiently, more effectively, and how to develop better. And I think it's really been a kind of a wave of baseball that I think is, you know, it started out, we call it kind of the Moneyball idea, but it's bigger than that. It's more than that. It's just teams being smart about how to use technology and how to use information to be better business people, because it is a business.
One out and a runner at second. Alan Craig on a 3-2 pitch, single to right back in the first. Grounds it up the middle and taken by Escobar. Holliday advancing to third on the play. Fox Sports Supports proud to recognize the Army's Gold Star Pin campaign that honors the families of fallen service members. To learn more, visit goldstarpins.org. Just to finish up the thought on Dan, he drafted Marco Gonzalez, the lefty, last year out of Gonzaga. Well, he pitched his way out of the Florida State League 2 nights ago, 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits. He's now at Springfield, and they talk about his changeup being the best in the minor leagues. And Michael Wacha type changeup made a good early impression in spring. They had to shut him down, and now is pitching remarkably well.
The pipeline continues.
That pitch taken low. Another one, Rick, in talking with a scout today, Tim Cooney. His last 2 starts, the lefty, 9 innings, 1 hit, and then 2 nights ago, 6 2/3, only 2 runs allowed. And his strikeout to walk ratio is 2-to-1 this year. Molina hits it to the right side. Omar Infante makes the play. The Cardinals have left 4 on midway through 3. St. Louis on top. First National Bank presenting the Jack Buck bobblehead. That's coming up. Remember, we've got a homestand that will begin with Washington when we get back after our visit to Tampa Bay. It's Michael Wacha 6 up and 6 down, and has looked sharp here early on.
Throwing a couple of curveballs that I've liked, and you know he's going to be good if the fastball and changeup are there, but the curveball can make him even better. You have 3 pitches where you can attack a hitter. You got a chance of having a very special night.
Lorenzo Cain, Mike Moustakas, Alcides Escobar. Cain is showing bunt against that breaking ball. My partner tonight, Rick Horton, was drafted not just once out of high school, but twice. First time by San Francisco, and then you were a 4th round pick out of Virginia.
And very excited to be getting that call and finding out that I was drafted by the Cardinals. I was a bit surprised. You don't always know. I think some of the top round guys might know that there's a team really following you. I knew there was a Cardinals scout telling Marty Meyer this, and he was in scouting at the time, and remembered a couple of the old scouts that we were kind of had mutual friends, and Tim Thompson was the guy that had scouted me in high school. But they sent a cross-checker to watch me pitch at William and Mary, and I walked 8 guys, and I knew there was a Cardinal scout there, and I thought, well, I can kind of cross them off my list. But I was throwing hard for me that day, and that must have been the difference. And somehow I got jacked up to be in the 4th round, and was so excited to get that call, couldn't wait to sign. In fact, Marty was telling me the story about watching Mitchell Boggs pitch. He was told by a scout, you got to come see this guy pitch. He's got tremendous stuff.
Little floater into shallow right, drops in for a base hit. The first hit tonight for Kansas City.
We'll get back to that story in a minute.
On your radar tonight,
1985 memories, Dan. I just had this thought on my mind as well, coming to the ballpark here at Kansas City. I love this stadium, as I mentioned, but as I told you on day 1 here, when I actually came downstairs here near the Cardinal dugout, I had this feeling, because I remembered the moment watching Kansas City celebrate the World Series in '85,
and it's a double play.
A little painful for me.
I can imagine. An absolute rocket off the bat of Mike Moustakas, and it turns into a double play. A blue base hit, and then a rocket that turns into a double play. That's baseball.
Quick reflexes by Craig.
I think it's ironic you bring up the name of Mitchell Boggs tonight. It was Mitchell Boggs in the debut of Michael Wacha a year ago that gave up a home run to Jeff Rancourt and sent us into extra innings. But finish your story on Michael.
May have been why he was on our mind. And Marty said that he saw Mitchell pitch in that game, and he gave up 9 runs in an inning and a third. And the scout said, hey, I want to know what you think of the guy. I think we should be a top pick here. And he said, well, I got good news and bad news. The bad news is he gave up 9 runs in an inning and 2/3. But the good news is I see why you like him, and I think we should take him. And you know, he ended up having a couple of really good years for the Cardinals, and of course the inconsistency has been his downfall.
Tavares puts it away. We get to the 4th. St. Louis on by AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Schnucks, your hometown grocer for 75 years. Oscar Taveras leads it off the carousel just beyond the center field wall here at Kauffman Stadium, the Truman Sports Complex. I've always wondered that about you, Rick, if when you walk in this ballpark, if you get those bad memories as Taveras lines it into center field. And where were you when that famous call was made in Game 6 of '85?
It was actually warming up in the bullpen when that happened. And why I was up in the bullpen to replace Todd Worrell, I can't quite remember. But when that play happened, I was so far away from it, I didn't kind of have the feel of it until after coming into the clubhouse and hearing about it. Certainly I did. But out in the bullpen, which actually was in the left field area now, which is the home bullpen for the Royals now. And so all of the frustration, there was heavy frustration obviously in the Cardinals dugout both that day and the next day. And by the time we got to the ballpark, we had a sense that we had no chance of winning, even though John Tudor was pitching Game 7. I'm not sure why we weren't able to overcome that, but we weren't.
Turned out to be a blowout in Game 7. And there's 2 down, and it brings in John Jay.
But Dan, the feeling surprised me.
Of the other day.
Just yesterday, yeah. And standing there, I can remember seeing Jamie Quirk and Dan Quisenberry and Dane Orge, and just seeing these guys that I knew, and I saw them celebrating. I saw Buddy Biancalana running up and down the hall with champagne in his hand that had been champagne that had been in our
literally in your clubhouse.
In our clubhouse the day before, and it just was painful. And it's just a game, but it's not some days, and that day it wasn't.
It's a game that in Game 6 at least has defined lives, careers. There's a base hit into center. John Jay is 2 for 2.
I must say the thing that was maybe the most melancholy moment about that in a way was Dick Howser being the winner of that World Series and passing away not long after.
Right. There's Peter Borges, tripled back in the second. That came with 2 outs. Went into the gap in right center as Kane, the center fielder, tried to cut it off. Went past him to the wall, and it scored John Jay all the way from first. Remember talking to the late great Jack Buck, and that was the one thing he told me. He said the only good thing that came out of that series was winning for Dick Howser, who was a good man.
Yeah.
But as Jack said, he said it was a nasty, nasty night.
I also remember the statement after Game 7 that John Tudor had hit a fan. And I literally thought it was a fan, like a person fan, not a fan. And he cut his hand, or I think he bruised it, or
cut it. It was wrapped up.
And I remember thinking, with only that little piece of information, how am I going to help my friend out of jail here? Because he just hit a fan.
And he had the meltdown of Andujar in Game 7. It was
with my runners on base.
It's tough to watch. Peter Borges hits it out the left field line and pulls it foul.
Andujar came in and said he didn't want to pitch. He was kind of mad about being out there because he'd been a starter and felt like he was almost beneath him. But it's Game 7 of the World Series, for goodness sakes.
All hands on deck.
But by that time, we'd already used Lottie and Tudor, Lottie, Bill Campbell, and me. So there wasn't much left. Ken Daly was actually terrific that day as kind of the last man standing in our bullpen.
The flight home.
Oh. Well, it was literally painful for me because I'd spent the night in the emergency room the night before because my eardrum had burst on the flight out here.
Oh.
So I was kind of in la-la land anyway.
It's a brutal road trip. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, it was a bad trip, no doubt.
Jack was working with Sparky Anderson the World Series that year, and Sparky said, well, Jack, you know, you look at the play and his foot was there in the ball, and Jack says, he's got the ball, The foot's on the bag. Last time I checked, it's an out, man.
Is that what he said?
Those are the rules. I mean, he was hot. And a walk to Borges. He's telling this to Sparky Anderson. The second walk issued by Ventura. You can follow the Cardinals on MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Just visit Cardinals.com today. Well, 8 and 9 in the order. They have been on base 4 times already. And that's Jay and Borges.
I got to give you one more memory of that 85 flight. I remember Cesar Cedeno coming onto the plane with red leather pants. Now, why I remember that, I don't know. I don't remember what day it is half the time, but I remember that. I mean, pretty much unforgettable. You remember the players, the teammates, just odd moments.
Sure. Carpenter off the glove of Hosmer. Here comes Jay. The throw is cut off. And Matt Carpenter delivers with a base hit into right field. RBI number 21. And the Cardinals have scored both their runs tonight with 2 outs.
And some credit to Jose Oquendo on this base hit to right field that barely gets into the outfield, but he knows it's going to be a tough throw for anybody coming home. So even though the ball squirts right beyond second base, he knows that Infante is going to be moving away from home. He's not going to have his feet straight to be able to make a good throw to the plate. So he sends John Jay, no doubt about it. And it works.
Inside to Cum Long. Cesar Cedeno
would not have been in the World Series that year had it not been for Cesar Cedeno.
What a spark he delivered. Fun to watch. 2-0 here. Pitch count already at 68 for Ventura. Popped up, and Gordon is over and makes the catch near the wall. Colton Wong is hitless tonight in 3 at-bats. However, the Cardinals strike again, 2-0. Carpenter, another RBI here in game 4. And the other RBI by Peter Borges. Let's go back to Rick's radar.
Another thought I've had on my mind, Dan, is the importance of not just this road trip, but the next road trip. So really these next 2 trips, very difficult for the Cardinals in terms of who they're playing. Kansas City played the Cardinals rough at home, and chance to sweep here in the first 2 games of this road trip, but they go on to Toronto and then Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay not playing well, but we know how tough they can be. But the next trip is Colorado, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. And I think these 2 road trips might kind of define what the task ahead will be for the Cardinals. They'll find out just how good they are.
Here's Aoki. Grounded out to short. And 0 for 1 tonight. The only base hit tonight allowed by Michael Wacha was Lorenzo Cain with a bloop single to right field. That's been it. Then he was erased on a line drive double play.
I think Aoki is saying, why is everybody throwing at me today?
Including the catcher. If you're just joining us on a pitch back to, or throwback after a pitch by Molina to Wacha, he hit Aoki in the back of the head. Then he went down.
You ever recall seeing that?
No. I mean, I've seen guys get hit, or you've seen it hit their bat.
Yeah,
when it's thrown back.
Right.
But I've never seen a guy hit the ground like Aoki did. And well, we do have the World Cup coming up, so you get used to seeing some of that.
You saying he took a dive?
Just saying, Rick. Puts it in play, charging Wong quickly to first.
And red card.
Yellow card, right?
It's a yellow. I guess it's yellow first. A couple yellows is a red.
Then red, you're out of there.
I like the World Cup. I know not everybody does. Dan, you're not a big soccer fan, but
oh, I love soccer. I love it. Can't wait to watch a World Cup.
Here's a little sarcasm.
No,
again.
no, not at all. Omar Infante. Infante grounded out to short and lines out to third.
I said Wacha threw a couple of good curveballs early on, but he's hung a couple since then, including this one. And so you better have quick reactions at third. Boom. The throw is gone. How about that time? You saw Wacha still finishing his pitch, and Carpenter getting ready to receive that line drive, kind of all at the same time. That shows how fast that is. I love that view there.
Eric Hosmer at the plate. It's popped up and out of play. Count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs and nobody on. Hosmer grounded out to third. Ricky is saying here comes a changeup. What is it? The fastball.
I'd have been out. Which of course goes without saying.
Go ahead and give the fantasy cam numbers. 8 for 8.
No, 7 for 7. We don't want to exaggerate. Glad you went there.
I knew. You had a heck of a run in the big leagues. 85 a World Series, 87 part of a World Series, and a winner in 88 with the LA Dodgers.
Nice place to be. A lot of exciting moments in games, including all the NLCSs at the time.
Ooh, just missed. The umpire tonight calling the balls and strikes is Dale Scott. And this is his 29th year in Major League Baseball. Three and 2 the count on Hosmer. Back to Wacha. Nice play. Steps and throws in a 1-2-3 inning. We get to the 5th. Cardinals lead it by 2. Okay, Pat, and the newest member of the Cardinals Hall of Fame, Jim Edmonds. They'll be with you in the post game. First pitch was swung on and missed. Here's the 0-1 Holiday, taken just a bit low. Holiday has walked and doubled. And a nice play made by Ventura. June 14th, pick up a Cardinals blanket for you or your furry friend. Compliments of Nestle Purina. They're available to 25,000 pet lovers ages 16 and older. Cardinals.com/promotions to pick up your Purina pet blanket. Always fun when we come to Kansas City, Rick, and have a chance to visit with one of your former teammates. He's now working as a color analyst for the Royals, and that's Rex Hudler, who was a fan favorite in St. Louis because of his style of play, his hustle.
Mr. Energy. Never had a bad day. Always brought enthusiasm to the ballpark, and I think if people didn't know him, they might say, oh, he's just kind of putting on a little show. But boy, when you know him, he's that way in the lunchroom. He's that way on a bus. He's that way on the field. And it's some nice moments as a Cardinal. Fans remember the sliding catch that he made down the left field line, kind of giving up his body, laying out. And everything he did was at 100%. Including that last sentence.
Oh, yeah. Well, Rex Hudler, he said Ozzie was short, Okendo at second, so he had to learn a different position as Craig bounces it to short. So he moved to the outfield. And then he got $1 million to move to Japan. And he said not only money, but a chance to learn how to hit a curveball. And then he came back and played a number of years in the big leagues. Rex Hudler. Here's Yadier Molina. Here's a 1-1 pitch, a breaking ball taken low and away. Molina has flied to center and also grounded out to second. 0 for 2. And Yadi pulls it fair down the third base line. Gordon with 4 outfield assists this year, looking for number 5 into second base and got him. Alex Gordon, the Gold Glove winner. And Molina is going to argue this with C.B. Buckner. And here comes Mike Matheny, who has asked his players to, if you feel the call is wrong, be emphatic about it and let me know. And so we will have, it looks like, a challenge here. That's Mike Aldrete on the phone to the video room right now.
And that's really the guy to focus on. He's getting feedback right now, and he's going to go thumbs up or thumbs down as to whether or not Mike thinks, Mike Aldrete that is, whether or not this should be reviewed and challenged. Very close with that angle. How about this angle?
So Mike Matheny will challenge this. And again, what we were told, and we had this instance yesterday, is that the players have been told not to leave the field if there's a potential of a challenge. Well, the Kansas City Royals have left the field. Their pitcher is in the dugout. Molina is still standing near the third base coach's box. And they're showing the replays here at Kauffman Stadium. Mike Matheny getting a look at it as well. That's the HD board. And if it holds up, it's the 5th outfield assist
for Alex Gordon.
Funny, Dan, from two angles, you're seeing all the Cardinal fans cheer, see, I told you he was safe, and you're seeing this angle here, and the Royals fans are saying, see, I told you he was out. So what matters is what they think in New York. Is the foot in, and where is the tag, and when is the tag?
If it's too tough to tell, then the call stands.
Right.
On average, replays have been taking roughly 2 minutes and 10 seconds at last check.
My best understanding of what I just saw is my gut tells me he was safe, but I can't really tell 100% by the video that he is safe.
And that's my feeling too. I think the one view, which is the third base view,
but you're interpreting
right
what happened in a time frame where you can't really see the depth perception of it, and that happens sometimes.
And that's my point, is that that's the one view that I come away with, and I think, well, he's safe. However, it's too tough to tell.
I think he's safe, but would I bet the ranch on it? No. And I don't even own a ranch.
Ventura is talking now with the first base umpire. That's Dan Iasonia, and he's come out with Perez, his battery mate, as they are visiting as to whether or not they should start to at least play catch.
Well, Taveras hasn't left the on-deck circle.
And now Ned Yost is coming out to visit with Iasonia. My guess is that they're going to say, if the play is overturned, how many warm-ups would he have?
Yeah, I'm not sure I've heard a clear presentation of that, but in my mind, you allow a pitcher whatever he wants. In a case where there's a delay that lasts a few minutes and you're unsure, you go sit down as he did for at least a moment. One of the tougher ones in my mind to make a decision on. I could kind of see this going both ways. Again, I would say I'm going to call him out because I can't prove that he was safe, even though I think he was.
Ruled out. 5 outfield assists for Alex Gordon. That ends the top of the 5th. It'll be a single for Yadier Molina, trying to stretch it into a double. A strong throw from the former infielder and third baseman, now in left. Classic. All to benefit the RBI program and Cardinals Care. And there's still foursomes available. Cardinals.com/RBI Golf. The Cardinals are going to make a change here. It looks like Daniel Descalso will take over at second base, and Colton Wong, who's had a tough night at the plate, 0 for 3, is out. Here's Billy Butler, and we're underway in the home half of the fifth.
Official time on that delay was a little bit longer than most, and I think the difficulty we talked about is part of the reason why. It was 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Average has been just north of 2 minutes for the time to determine challenges, and I would say they made the right choice there from what we could see.
The 1-1 is hit down the right field line and out of play. Soreness in the left shoulder of Colton Wong. It's the shoulder that he had issues with 2 nights ago, and that's the word we get from the Cardinals dugout. So lifted in this game. Butler chased a pitch up and hits it into the upper deck here at Kauffman Stadium. Well, the Cardinals are now 30-15 after the win last night in interleague play. They've won 8 in a row at this ballpark against the Royals.
Seems to me the last 4 times Daniel Descalso's entered the game, the balls come right to him every time.
I think you're right.
I'm kind of guessing a ground out to second right here. The ball finds you. And he's been flawless, and really, he's a guy you just don't worry about. I'm frankly happy every time Daniel Descalso gets in the game. I think he's going to have a good at-bat. Gets a hit or not, he's going to have a good at-bat, and I think he's going to provide some spark and good defense.
That's ripped down the third base line and into the corner. Jay will dig it out, and it's a leadoff double.
Change up from Waka up. Just about belt high. You get a good view of the height of that pitch there. It should be knee high. It's belt high. And Butler's had trouble getting a lot of extra base hits, but he gets one there.
Just the second hit of the night for Kansas City, and it brings in Alex Gordon. The start of play tonight. Lefties against Michael Waka hitting .212. Right-handers .222. And his swing and miss rate 26.4%. Highest by a Cardinals starter since they started keeping track of that back in the late 80s. Gives you an idea just how good his stuff is.
Royals have had a hard time scoring runs this season. They get an opportunity here. And the goal still is, Dan, it's just a 2-0 game in the 5th inning. You've got to get a run somehow, some way if you're the Royals. And it's not so late in the game that you avoid thinking, look, let's get him over, get him in. You got a left-handed batter at the plate. Perfect opportunity. Cardinals back on the right side of the infield. Gordon needs to pull the ball somehow, some way. There's a misconception about how to keep a guy from pulling the ball. I think the thought would be, well, let's just pitch him away. But a lot of times when you pitch him away, that's the pitch they can roll over and hit a ground ball to the right side. If you throw a good fastball in on a left-handed batter, you might jam him, and he might hit that inside out the other way. So you still have to use both sides of the plate if you're walking.
Just missed. And the first walk allowed by Michael. Brings in Salvador Perez, who struck out on a check swing back in the 2nd inning.
We mentioned 2nd in the American League at grounding into double plays last night. He has 12 of them. And with Perez at the plate, one of the key plays in the game here from the Royals' point of view in the 9th inning came with Perez at the plate on a double play that the Cardinals could not turn. because of the base running of Alex Gordon.
We haven't seen it in a while. The triple play.
A little ambitious there.
Wow. It jammed him, and Salvador Perez is shaking his right hand. I can't remember the last time the Cardinals turned a triple play. I remember Rafael Furcal of the Braves turning one against St. Louis. Here's the 0-2. Ground ball, backhanded by Craig. And he'll go to first for the out. Nice play by Alan Craig. Unfortunately, could not turn two. Struggled to get that out of the glove, but a tough pick on the backhand that saves a run. And runners in scoring position at second and third.
Craig unhappy about it, but he should be happy about the fact that he knocked this ball down and kept it in the infield, number one. Now, if he does get the ball transferred well, there still needs to be two really good throws to complete that double play. He would have had to make a perfect throw to Peralta, and then Peralta would have had to try to avoid Alex Gordon again at the bag, and I would say that's one of those risky double plays too. So in my mind, I'm happy with an out.
Lorenzo Cain, a bloop to right as he picked up the first hit tonight for Kansas City, and a high strike and a breaking ball. Cain with very good numbers at home, near a 400 hitter. You saw the numbers with runners in scoring position well above the 300 mark, and you just wonder if Waka will be very careful with Cain, knowing that Moustakas is on deck.
I thought he was
had his troubles.
I thought he was careful with Gordon, and I didn't like it. And I wouldn't like it here either.
Popped up. Descalso on the outfield grass makes the catch.
And the reason I say that, Dan, is I think you have to pitch like you have the lead, which, by the way, you do. And when you start pitching around guys late in the game, you tend to walk guys and get a little defensive. And I think you go after him with your best stuff. That wasn't a great curveball from Waka, but it got the job done. I mean, that's a little subtle thing. And I know there will be baseball people that feel differently about it, but I just do not like walks. We saw what Rosenthal's walk did last night to him late in the game. And again, walking Gordon here in this inning, to me, you're inviting a big inning when you do that.
Now Moustakas, who lined out. It's a high fly ball out to center. Borges going back with room. He's got it. The Royals get the first two on and do not score. Waka and the Cardinals are through 5, and they lead it 2-0. Dodger Center in Toronto. North of the border, the Cardinals go. It's the Cardinals and the Toronto Blue Jays tomorrow. Lance Lynn will get that start. It's our Budweiser What's on Tap. And you may be wondering about seeing the St. Charles native Mark Buehrle. Well, you'll get a chance to see him Saturday afternoon. Buehrle 10-1 this year. The soft tossing lefty, and quite a story right now for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I'd rather see him but not see him pitch, frankly.
Right.
They've got another guy in their rotation. I watched him pitch a few innings a couple of days ago, Hutchinson, who throws gas. I mean, he's just a big guy throwing hard, and Toronto, we know, has a great offense in terms of the power production. And speaking of production, Mike Matheny talking about Oscar Taveras before the game today, and he's just kind of waiting for him to explode. I think he knows that there's a lot in there, and it's a small sample size right now for Taveras, who's 0 for 2, but he's very aware just how good he can be, and I think before long we're going to see it.
City's been fine defensively. Taveras did not like that call. 2 balls and 1 strike. Tonight he is flied out to left and lined out to center, hitless.
Dan, I may have to see a doctor and check on this, but I think for the 3rd day in a row I'm going to say that our home plate umpire is doing a nice job with balls and strikes. I think the last 3 guys that we've seen, that started with C.B. Buckner last night, it was Tripp Gibson behind the plate, and today Dale Scott. I think they've done a really good job.
Only halfway home. Give it time.
Am I sick?
Hasn't been a ruling change yet, so you're okay. The scoring issue that
now that's a different story.
Brings in Johnny Peralta. You know, Michael Wacha here tonight, and you talked about the curveball. At times it's been really good, and other times he has not gotten away with it.
Spun a few times, yeah.
You know, but Yadier Molina continues to go back to it. And you think about just the maturation process of a young player and a young pitcher, where your veteran catcher keeps calling for something that is not your best pitch. As Peralta pops out, that only makes him better in the long run, I would assume.
Well, when Molina puts down a signal, you're going to get a sense that he believes I can get somebody out with this. And that is, boy, that's about half the battle. And then the rest of the battle is you've got to believe it yourself at a deeper level. But if you've gotten to this level, you should have that in you somewhere. But it sure helps to have somebody. I mean, you don't want them to be putting a sign down there and kind of giving the old thumbs up like, hey, I don't really know. I hope. And Molina can do so much for the confidence of a young pitcher. I think a year ago the Cardinals staff was as good as they were because of their talent and because of Yadier Molina.
Well, we've seen that John Jay can be awfully streaky, and he's starting to swing the bat very well again. Jay, a couple of hits tonight, 2 runs scored.
We just saw a shot at Derek Lilliquist, and we don't talk about him quite as much, and maybe we should. I think he's got a very kind of old school, calm demeanor about him, but he's also serious, and also he's all about business. He's all about the business of getting people out, and he has a way, in my mind, of instilling confidence in people and kind of not being rah-rah about that necessarily, but very matter-of-fact guy. He's a straight shooter. I like Derek quite a bit.
Me too. Bueno is throwing in the pen. The 2-2. And Jay lines it out to center. Lorenzo Cain is there. And Michael Wacha back to work when we come back to Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. St. Louis Science Center, where we specialize in making science fun. And find a helpful servicing steel dealer near you. Visit steeldealers.com. I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. If you make your way to Kansas City, I know a lot of our fans will come to Kansas City when there's no baseball just to have a nice trip away across the state. Do yourself a favor and take in the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. It's located in a historic part of town. It's the 18th and Vine District. It's also next to the American Jazz Museum. It is awesome.
And don't forget the Jazz Museum. I've been to both, and they're both amazing, and you'll love it.
Out to deep left field. And this ball is off the wall, played perfectly by Jay. And Escobar trotting into second base with a leadoff double. So a leadoff double for Escobar and a pitch he jumped on.
That's a fastball this time, but it's center cut.
When you head to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, you'll see Rick Horton in a video there too.
Yeah, I'm in the 5-minute intro video. Talking about Cool Papa Bell and Josh Gibson and Satchel Paige, and then they do a cut to modern day baseball, and there's me. It's bizarre. But I'm pitching to Barry Bonds, and he hits the ball back to me. I throw it to Ozzie, so I'm pretty excited about being a part of the Negro League Hall of Fame. Did not know about it. Was there with my son, and he said, "Dad, that's you. What in the world are you doing here?"
That's great. It was Satchel Paige that you saw there.
I like looking at the uniforms there, and I mean, there's just so much to do.
They have the interactive infield, if you will, and the footage that was found by many that donated it to that museum. Geddy Lee, the rocker, has a lot of items he's donated to that museum. He is a collector of baseball autographs, and before some of the Negro League players passed away, he went and got their autograph and donated that back to the museum. Aoki at the plate. Here's a 1-2. Rick, before he passed away, I had a chance to visit with Bob Kendrick, who runs the museum, and then the late great Buck O'Neill.
Oh yeah.
And Buck O'Neill, I think at the time was 90 or 91. Sharp as ever. The feature we did ran across America. It was just a privilege to be there and visit with him. As Aoki lines it fair, just inside that left field line. Escobar will score back-to-back doubles to start the bottom of the 6th for Kansas City.
Moved the runners over last inning and didn't score. This time Aoki says, forget moving the runner over, I'm just going to get a double myself. Hits one just inside the bag. Oddly, he's been better against left-handed pitchers than he has right-handers this year. But the Royals got something going here in the 6th inning against Waka. I think important to go back to one of the keys to the game. You do not want to be trailing going into the 8th inning against Kansas City. Now even more important for Infante to move the runner over to third base.
Even the Cardinals before the game tonight, down in the dugout, down on the field, we're talking about the back end of their bullpen. Holland, who is nasty, leads the league in saves, and they have some hard throwers. Wade Davis has had a big series against the Cards. That pitch inside from Waka. The Cardinals scored both their runs with 2 outs. And 45% of the runs scored by the Cardinals this year have come with 2 outs. Nearly half. That's second in baseball, just behind the Giants at 47%.
Waka throwing that pitch up and in, and Infante doing everything he could to try to hit that ball the right side. almost an impossible location to do that. We talked about Infante's influence on Alcides Escobar, who doubled and scored in this inning. Escobar has been a thorn in the Cardinals' side, hasn't he?
Big time. Offensively and defensively. Waka has issued 1 walk. He has struck out 1. The 2-2 off speed pitch had him out in front. Really took something off that breaking ball.
He did. And again, the breaking ball at times has been kind of sitting up in the zone. Infante was out front, as you mentioned, but he's still trying to keep his hands back. You can be out front with your body, but if your hands are back, you can still drive the ball. Not with as much power, of course. Still trying to get that ball to the right side somehow, some way.
The 2-2 curveball hit to short, and Peralta will go across the diamond. Did he have a play at third? AT&T fan photo.
I think Peralta made the right move getting the out. The risky run. Did he have time? Maybe. But with that angle and that throw, the chances of him hitting the runner in the back are fairly high. Because of that angle, you can't get a straight throw to third.
And now it's Hosmer, and it's blocked nicely in the dirt by Yadier Molina. The Royals first baseman is over 2 with a pair of groundouts. Good jump by Aoki, so would have been a very tough play.
And a good look at the angle there. And Carpenter didn't even really bother going to third there.
Yanked down the right field line and pulled foul.
But that's a perfect picture, Dan, of the angles that you deal with in this game. The fielder has to kind of, you know, Peralta has about a third of a second to make that decision too. It's not like he's going to sit there and think about it. Well, you know, give me a moment. Let's have a meeting and talk about it. I mean, you've got to instinctively know what to do.
Base hit into right with the infield in, and this game is tied. Eric Hosmer drives in his 25th.
Drawn in infield, probably would have been a hit anyway, no matter where the infielders were. He hit that ball hard. So a new ball game here in the 6th inning.
Now Billy Butler lifts it in the air out to left center. Going back, it's Borges. Makes the catch. Hosmer back to the bag at first, and there's 2 down. Again, going with that breaking ball. He's thrown that more, I think, in the last month or so than even the changeup at times, which is such a tremendous pitch for him.
You go with what works that day. And if he and Yadi believe that the changeup isn't quite as sharp today as the curveball, then that's what you do.
Alex Gordon is flied out to left and also walked. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Gordon. Taken for a strike. A play that was reviewed and a throw by Gordon to catch Molina at second base looms large. Cardinals would have had a runner in scoring position. One and 2 the count with 2 outs and a runner at first in a 2-2 game. Little floater out to left center, and it drops in for a hit. A broken bat, base hit by Gordon. The 4th hit in the inning for Kansas City. Well, the Cardinals have selected in the draft. Let's tell you who it is. It's Luke Weaver. He is a right-handed pitcher out of Florida State. Randy Choate, Florida State. Shane Robinson, Florida State. Now we have Luke Weaver, right-handed pitcher, 6'2", 170, 27th overall pick. Good luck to Luke. Salvador Perez is hitless tonight. Struck out on a check swing. Then a very good play at first base by Alan Craig with runners at first and second. Took a hit away.
The way it is now, you take a college pitcher with your first pick, you're thinking a couple years down the road, maybe he's another Michael Wacha. Maybe he's pitching in the big leagues. That's a lot to ask for. 2-year development, but we shall see with Luke Weaver. Congratulations.
Up the middle, just past Wacha, just past the diving Descalso. The throw is not in time, and it's 3-2 Kansas City.
Michael Wacha is going to be frustrated that he doesn't get that ball. It's just past his glove and Descalzo's, and like most pitchers, you fall off towards your glove side, and his momentum, he just couldn't stop it to get his glove back in time. But that was a ball he probably could have gotten at least a glove on to keep it in the infield.
Carlos Martinez is throwing in the Cardinals' pen. Runners at first and second. Pitch count at 90. 5 hits in the inning, and a couple of runs have scored with 2 outs. Cardinals 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Kansas City 3 for 7, and another disturbing trend in this game for the Cardinals. They've stranded 6, so again they've had some opportunities.
And a disturbing trend to have a Cardinals starter sail along and then all of a sudden lose it. Now, has he lost it completely? No, but 5 hits in an inning isn't very good, and you can look back at some other starts that we've seen very similar to this. Shelby Miller had one like this, as did Jaime Garcia.
Lorenzo Cain. First hit for Kansas City in this game was back in the 3rd. A bloop single to right. He's also popped out with 2 runners on. Michael Wacha has not allowed more than 3 runs in any of his starts this year. He wants to keep it that way. He's still looking for his first road victory. Two 2-0 the count. Again, Carlos Martinez throwing in the pen. The Cardinals have Borges, then the top of the lineup due up in the 7th. That's the second time tonight. A breaking ball taken high by Cain, and he didn't like the call. The 3-1 pitch, off-speed pitch, pounded in the ground, and Carpenter can step on the bag in the force. However, here in the bottom of the 6th, the Royals pick up 3 runs, and they pick up their first lead of the night. Benefit RBI, Cardinals Care. You'll be paired up with a former Cardinal or Hall of Famer is Tuesday, June 10th at Forest Park. Cardinals.com/RBI Golf. Be a part of it. Bueno hopes to stay that way against the Cardinals.
Our Chevy call to the bullpen, ERA of 9. We've talked about the back end of the Royals bullpen, the guys that pitch in the 8th and 9th, Davis and Holland. Everybody else is kind of gettable, including this left-hander Bueno.
Rough inning for Michael Wacha. Cardinals will see Bueno for the first time in this series. Left on the bench, all right-hander. Right-handed bench for Cardinals. Manager Mike Matheny, Cruz, Grichuk, and Ellis. There's Peter Borges, who has tripled and walked, and he looks at a strike. So Ventura out of the game, and you go from the hard-throwing right-hander to the lefty. This is chopped towards third and a foul ball. 0-2 the count on Peter Borges.
Bueno, 33 years of age, and has really just been the guy that's just stayed with it. He was born in Havana, Cuba, now lives in the Dominican, but years in the minor leagues with the Braves, and now his third season, at least parts of seasons, with the Kansas City Royals. I always think it's nice to have a second left-hander in the bullpen. I never understand teams that just don't go out and find somebody. I think it's just good to have.
Escobar across the diamond. First out here in the 7th. I'll never stop improving, and it's Matt Carpenter since April 20th with some of the best numbers, certainly for the Cardinals, but in all of Major League Baseball. And he has just been outstanding once again. And this season as the Cardinals' everyday third baseman.
When you were talking about his numbers, Dan, his first time at the plate, you start thinking about maybe Matt Carpenter as an all-star. And I'm not sure we were thinking that about too many Cardinals, other than, of course, Yadier Molina and the year that Adam Wainwright is having. But Carpenter, as those numbers increase, he's not at this point very high up in the balloting at third base, but there's some guys having good years as third baseman. But he does have a manager there who may have some choices at his discretion, and that's, you know, that again, that's the way it works. That's the way it is.
I was talking with a Hall of Famer who happens to write for a local paper that is actually carried in our town.
Right, that narrows that down.
You got it. Rick Hummel. And I said, well, you know, when you're thinking about the Cardinals, how about all-stars this year? And he was the one that brought it to my attention. He said, well, Matt Carpenter. And I said, well, no, that can't be right. Not yet. And you start looking at the numbers. Yeah, Matt Carpenter. It was about this time last year we started saying that Matt Carpenter should be an all-star.
Right.
He's also leading the league in hits.
I also recall the time that happened sometime, I don't know exactly when it was, but I know there was a time where the switch came from, okay, Carpenter's doing a nice job playing second base. Okay, he's an all-star. You know what? He may be the most valuable player on this team and in this league. And we've been talking about Molina in that regard already, but he certainly made an impression on the National League a year ago.
I still go back to 55 doubles and breaking Stan the Man's mark for doubles by a left-handed batter in St. Louis Cardinals history. I mean, you think about doing that. One of the greatest hitters that's ever played this game. That really stands out, clearly. But he had just a remarkable year, and I wonder if it's taken him a little bit of a transition period to go back to third, and if that had any kind of carryover effect to the beginning of his season at the plate. Remember, he was struggling defensively.
Yeah.
And his timing was off. They talked about defensively. I wonder if he carried that a little bit to the plate.
I don't know how you don't to some degree. You try not to, but you're human. Laying off that slider, Bueno's trying to get him to chase.
And he did chase for about the first 5 or 6 weeks, that pitch.
Agreed.
Three and two the count here on Carpenter. There's an RBI base hit back in the fourth and hits it sharply to first. Hosmer is there. Steps on the bag for out number 2. I asked Mike Matheny, are you paying attention to the rest of the league and what some players are doing? Because he's going to have some decisions coming up. Not a ton, but he does have decisions. And he said, yeah, it's hard not to. So we get all the scouting reports, he said, but you walk in our clubhouse, it's on the TV, you read the newspapers, you hear different things. So he's got an idea of what he wants to do.
Yeah, and he's also been talking to managers who've managed in the All-Star game before, and he intimated a week ago that he has picked those guys now, but he's not making that public yet. But they know who they are, and those are people that have managed All-Star games, and he gets to pick coaches too, and some of the managers in the National League, and I think he's relying on some of their advice about preparation and how you make those choices, and not an easy task. It's a kind of a combination of the fans voting for it, the players voting for it, the managers picking the players. And one thing that's come into vogue is making sure you've got the 8th inning and 7th inning stopper type guys, because it's a game you want to win. And Mike talked about that today.
0-2 on Descalso, replacing Wong, out with a sore shoulder, and he strikes out. Time to stretch here at Kauffman Stadium. The Mazda game summary, 3-2 in favor of the Royals. Michael Wacha, 6 innings tonight, the 7 hits. Only rough patch along the way was in the bottom of the 6th. 5 hits, 3 runs. John Jay has had a nice night. Ventura, the starter for Kansas City, 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, and Aoki 1 for 3 and a key double and an RBI. Well, Carlos Martinez into the ballgame for St. Louis. He's had his issues with lefties. You can see that there. This will be his 28th appearance. And he has a record of no wins and 3 losses. Mike Moustakas leads it off here in the 7th. Lined into a double play. And also flied out to center with 2 runners on. 0 for 2. Then we'll see Escobar, who got it started in the 6th inning for Kansas City. And Aoki, who had that key double. Toronto tomorrow night. Lance Lynn will get that start. Rick and Al will have the call for you. That'll come your way at 5:30. Off day on Monday. Brief 2-game set with Tampa. And then the Cardinals return home to face Washington. 2 balls and no strikes. And that's pulled foul. And 2-2 on Moustakas. The shift on for former high draft choice, third baseman. We showed the numbers earlier, Rick, that against lefties, they're hitting .333 against Carlos Martinez, and there's a leadoff walk. Saturday, June 21st, 25,000 fans, 16 and older, receive a Cardinals tote bag. That's courtesy of Diet Coke, as well as Schnucks. Cardinals.com/promotions to get those tickets. Escobar, who's had a tremendous series, 1 for 2 tonight. He has scored a run and doubled.
Potential bunting situation here for Escobar. Orioles would like to tack on one more. And I always think that's a pretty good idea, frankly. If you're going to bunt and you've got a guy that's a good bunter, try to bunt for a hit the first time.
You just don't see it very often in the American League with the DH and primarily a sluggers league.
Not a big fan of the bunt in the American League.
Nope. And the one team that did it when they had the players to do it was Mike Scioscia. Schooled in the National League style of play as Martinez hops off the mound. And they'll get the man at first. We forget Carlos Martinez, originally a shortstop. And you got a little idea of his athleticism on that play. I mean, he hops off the mound. He's a cat-like presence out there. Look at this.
And he wanted to take it himself. He wanted to tag him, and then he realized, whoa, he's pretty fast. So am I. And then he adjusted and made the throw. But that was not an easy throw. Had to, again, avoid the runner, which could have seen some bad things happening there, but he got an out. Escobar does his job, and the Royals have a chance to get that insurance run.
The lefties, why are they having success against this right-hander?
Well, I think you asked that, Dan, and just thinking about that in my mind, the changeup that we saw from Martinez when he first came up, we have not seen. And when I'm not saying he's not throwing it at all, but it's flatter. It doesn't have the downward movement to it, and it's not as much of an out pitch, a swing and miss pitch from Martinez. And we were told at one point that he had the best fastball in the minor leagues for the Cardinals. A couple months later, we were told he had the best changeup in the minor leagues, and then we heard he had the best breaking ball. So I mean, he's got good stuff, and we just are not seeing it all working in concert.
Taveras diving for it, comes up with it. That's a catch, and that's a double play. Oscar Taveras in right field, robbing Aoki and making sure that this stays a one-run Kansas City lead. Fine play by the rookie Oscar Taveras.
I'm glad the transfer play isn't around anymore.
Sports Update with Pat Paris. Guys, thanks. The 27th, 34th, 68th, and 71st picks tonight for St. Louis. There's a look at the Subway in-game box score as Matt Holliday will lead it off, then Craig and Molina in what is a very important inning for St. Louis. You do not want to see their closer. He is a good one. I'm not sure you want to see Wade Davis, who's in this game. You just saw Gerard Dyson. He takes over in center. Kane moves from center to right. And Davis is our Chevy Colt to the pen. He's had 2 appearances in this series, and the second game he won. He's now 5-1 out of their pen. We're talking about all-stars. Why not Wade Davis?
I think he's got a good shot at it. There's no question about that. He's been dominating the 8th inning. The Cardinals are going to have a hard time scoring here. They, of course, can do it with one swing of the bat, but not going to be easy.
Holliday into center. Dyson back with room. That's 4-10 to center.
Well, Holliday almost did it. We'll check that location on Matt up in the zone and almost got it. You could tell he didn't. You could see the way he tossed the bat. By the way, Dan, 6 innings out of Michael Wacha, throwing low 90s, nasty stuff. 6 innings out of Yordany Ventura, throwing high 90s. Both starting pitchers with 1 strikeout. I would not have predicted that. Offenses that are struggling, you could have maybe seen a game where each guy had 8 strikeouts through 6, and both teams put the ball in play. Been another good ball game, 3-2.
Here's Craig. The 0-1 pitch from Davis. Fly ball into right. Kane is over near the line and makes the play. A reminder, make sure and join us on Fox Sports Midwest this weekend. All 3 games against the Blue Jays on your home of the Cardinals. Interleague play continues. Rick and Al will have the call for you, and that's tomorrow at 5:30. Here's Yadier Molina, who has singled and was thrown out at second base by Alex Gordon on a play that was reviewed. Call stood. He's flied to center and grounded to second, and the fans are into it. Attendance tonight 24,438. 24438.
Been talk around Kansas City about Davis and Holland, who've both been great at the end of the game, to maybe trade one of them and get some offense here. But in my mind, they have a great weapon in Davis and Holland. I wouldn't change a thing.
Well, you shorten a lot of games, these two.
And that's what you do. And you just hope that you get just enough offense and just enough starting pitching to keep you in it, because as we mentioned, one of the keys to the game, don't let them have the lead going into the 8th. It will not be simple.
Molina, a liner, and the catch is made by Dyson. He holds on and takes a hit away from Yadier Molina. by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Kauffman Stadium, where it's 3-2 in favor of Kansas City here in the bottom of the 8th. And the Royals trying to make it 3-4 against St. Louis. They swept the 2 in St. Louis, and Cardinals pulled it out late last night. As Carlos Martinez is working in his second inning, and the Cardinals stretching him out a bit. Not so much your setup man anymore, but more of a long man. And remember that StubHub is a place you can find your seats both home and road. They have all-in pricing, no surprise fees at checkout, 2% back in fan rewards. StubHub, it's your ticket to upgrades and more. Along with Rick Horton and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin.
The one thing you'd say about Carlos Martinez, long man, yes, but you're not afraid to use him in a close ball game. Cardinals trailing by just 1 run. Mike Matheny trusting him here with 2 innings. And I think it's good for him to get his mechanics ironed out. The more long inning appearances that he has, I think it's going to help him kind of find his swagger that we keep talking about and his mechanics.
Grounder to second. Descalso retires Omar Infante. And it brings in Eric Hosmer with Billy Butler to follow. The Cardinals looking ahead to the 9th. Will have Taveras, Peralta, and John Jay. The closer getting loose for Kansas City. Randy Choate and Seth Maness throwing in the Cardinals pen. Make a good point, Rick, how you want to get better against these lefties, and yet if you're a setup man and that's your defined role, sometimes it's only an inning or 2/3 of an inning, so tough to really get in a rhythm and try to figure it out.
So you need to face the lefties, and you need to be able to get hitters out in different ways, and you need to, and that will be an opportunity to gain the confidence of the changeup and the breaking pitch. He gets an out there against the left-hander, so all that kind of part of the kind of return of Carlos Martinez. A little sinker, actually didn't sink much, but the velocity of Martinez, he can get away with some things other pitchers can. I would say he's close.
And a little help from Oscar Taveras and a good double play. Started back in the 7th, and that pitch is fouled back by Billy Butler. Hit 100 on the gun. Butler tonight has grounded out to second, fly to center, and also doubled.
We talked about, you and I on the break, about that play that Taveras made 2 months ago. It's not an out. Because when he came up on the transfer, he didn't get a clean transfer from glove to hand. The ball popped out, and that's what they were calling about 2 months ago. It's so odd that we're playing in a season where that call has changed twice.
I think you're with me. That was the right call.
Yeah,
no question. I like the way that it's being called now, the way it's been called for years.
But there was a 2 or 3 week period, maybe.
It's crazy. It cost some games for certain teams. Is that one is a foul ball that Molina caught a piece of?
Created confusion. There's the guy you didn't want to see.
He's made good on 56 of his last 58 save chances.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance, as Taveras is over and makes the catch. Half an inning to go. Possibly. It's been a fun series. The I-70 series started in St. Louis. Some dramatic home runs. Last night a dramatic win for St. Louis. Can they come back? a 1-2-3 last night and a 1-2-3 in a save situation.
Yeah, Dan, the dominating stuff is a overpowering fastball, a really short, quick, downward breaking slider, and a split finger. All three very effective.
3 nights in a row. They're asking an awful lot out of this right-hander. First pitch to Taveras. Fastball taken low. If you go back to May 30th of last year, so more than a year ago, he has 7 more saves than anybody else in baseball and has allowed a total of 8 earned. Opponents have hit 163 against him. You talked about it last night. We were questioning some of the pitches as to whether or not he's throwing a splitter, but it's just a very hard curveball, 12-6.
And it has a splitter action to it.
Yeah.
But if you look at his delivery, you'll see it's not a split grip. Now, he does throw a splitter, but not as often as that slider, and it's just kind of a straight down breaking pitch. That's tough to pick up.
The 2-1. Outside and low. Last year, Holland, an all-star, single season record for the club, 47 saves, past Dan Quisenberry and Jeff Montgomery, who both had 45 save seasons. And folks, watch out here on this pitch. The 3-1 to Oscar Taveras. Chops it up the middle. Backhanded throw to first, and Oscar is out. Oh, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Oh, my goodness.
This one's going to be changed. Chris Maloney's trying to calm Oscar down, and he said, don't worry, you'll be standing here in a minute.
Better calm me down, too. It's not even close.
No, that's just a bad call right there, and there is no doubt about it.
It's a base hit for Taveras, and the leadoff man will be on.
So Mike Matheny asking the umpires to look at it, and they're going to look at it, and this is a crew chief review.
They just showed the fans on the video board the play here, and this shouldn't take long. He is safe. Jeez.
The last review, the umpires took 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I would think this would take a much shorter period of time, because it's going to be very obvious when you look at this replay slowed down, and we've had a chance to see it. He's safe.
Leadoff man is on.
I liked what Chris Maloney was doing with Oscar Taveras, who was so frustrated about that.
Yes.
And he kept saying, hey, don't worry about it. It'll be good.
Well, you got to keep him in the game, too. You know, you go into extra innings, Oscar Taveras needs to be in this game.
Well, you keep him in the game, but you're taking him out of the game right now. I'm with you, but they want the speed right now of Randall Grichuk, who replaces Taveras. And he did his job. Leadoff base hit against a tough pitcher, and he is making this inning interesting for St. Louis.
Now it's Johnny Peralta. And he looks at a ball low. When you ask a closer to go 3-4 days in a row, you know, sometimes it is 1, 2, 3, but you start getting in day 3 and 4 in a row, playing with fire just a bit.
Yeah, I'm okay with 3. I think 4 is pushing it, but you know, it also depends on how much he labored in those appearances. I think that's a big part of it.
Peralta pops it foul, 1 ball and 1 strike.
And we say this a lot, Dan, but the common baseball theory that I think most baseball people agree with is you play for the win on the road and you play for the tie at home. You don't play for 1 run as a road team, meaning you don't bunt here.
If you're wondering, Randall Grichuk, the most he has stolen was 16 bases in 2012 in 135 games.
Taveras is not a bad runner. We saw him beat out that infield hit. Grichuk is faster, but Taveras has also had those ankle issues, and I think it makes sense.
The check swing. He went. Grichuk to second in scoring position. The ball that gets away from Salvador Perez, and now the tying run in scoring position.
Mild protest from Peralta, who doesn't believe that he went, but the umpire says, I'm not asking, you did. Whoa, maybe he didn't. On the replay, I thought he did live. I'm not sure he swung at that.
Some of the best at bats tonight have been taken by John Jay. Jay has singled twice and also lined out to center.
That's a big call, him calling
Sure
that
is.
swing and a miss.
Pitch to John Jay. Take it for a strike.
.294 with wrist.
Room to the left side. And again, you look at the outfield, Ricky, you pointed it out a number of times in this series, but it really has stood out, I think, in the 2 games here in Kansas City. They are shallow.
Very much so. It's a spacious ballpark, but they're still shallow. They're inviting John Jay to hit the ball over their heads. What Cardinal fans want is just a John Jay base hit right here.
And an 0-2 to John Jay.
Jay checks his swing. Did Johnny Peralta check his swing with 2 strikes? The call was he swung, and he did.
Ooh.
Good view of that. The second replay, I wasn't so sure, but the umpire made the right call there.
Tying run at second base. Randall Grichuk. 1 ball and 2 strikes on John Jay. Cardinals down to their final out. This guy is nasty. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals. It comes down to Peter Borges with a tying run at second base. 3-2 Kansas City with 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. Borges an RBI triple with 2 outs back in the 2nd. He walked in the 4th and grounded out to short.
Cardinals just cannot lay off that slider, can they? Well, the Cardinals and the rest of Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Find any way to bring Matt Carpenter up and have a chance. This place is electric right now. The 1-0 to Peter Borges on its way. Borges 1 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout against the closer of the Royals. Down to his final strike. The 1-2. Two-2 pitch to Borges. On its way. Perez, the throw to first, and the Royals take 3 of 4. Let's turn to tonight's player of the game, and it's Ventura, the starter of the Kansas City Royals. Budweiser, player of the game, 6 innings, allowed 7 hits, couple of runs. Michael Wacha takes a loss in what has been a very fun series.
We saw 2 very good pitchers here, 2 young pitchers, and yes, an outstanding series. A lot of excitement here in the 9th inning, but the Cardinals come up short.
Holland records the save, number 17. The Royals take 3 of 4. It's off to Toronto. Postgame is next.